Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. This time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. Sometimes when I'm reasoning about us, I know you got me, it's so effortless. Back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. No, this time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the FPV News on Tuesday night. It's time to get caught up on the news in the world of FPV. Good to see you,
Yeah.
Blunty.
Good to see you. Yeah, we're back on another Tuesday to do another news day where we talk about the FPV news, stuff you've sent in, stuff you can send in for next week, or clarifications if you want, down there at news@fpvknowitall.com. It's always down there in the corner of the screen, so you could
I had
send
somebody
it an email.
comment today. He sent me a personal email. He was like, "Hey, this is for the news. I can't find the address." I'm like, "Bro, I can't help you any more than I already do." But we did get some submissions and a little bit of original research as well. Original research in terms of a follow-up on last week's story. Should we catch them up in case they didn't see, like anyone would miss the news? Should we catch them up on what the story is?
Yeah, so if you missed last week, we did a story on Major League Drone Racing. I was reached out to by multiple pilots that participated in the first live event of Major League Drone Racing that happened last year in May. And they claim that they were unpaid according to their contracts that they had with MLDR. Before that show, we had reached out for comment to MLDR and not received anything back. I had given them Friday to Tuesday. They did find out about our show though, and they reached out to us.
Isn't that interesting?
And so me and you actually hopped on a call with them, and we got together. With,
I should say they graciously hopped on a call with us. I would put it. That's how I would put it. They're obviously very busy people, and we appreciate them taking the time. It's interesting. I mean, I'm really glad, Blunty, that you did the responsible thing and contacted them trying to get a statement, because like when they were like, it's all a lie, and freaked out, and we're like, get on the phone with you. if we hadn't done that, I would have like felt irresponsible. And it's the kind of thing that we might have done that. So
yeah, I've learned we've done this show long enough that on a story like that, I know better. I know well enough to send that email. So.
You're gonna light a fire. So the first thing they said was like, yeah, wow, it's so weird. We could not figure out how did your email to us? You sent an email to the president, the CEO, the president, whoever, at his personal public email address, and also to like info@mldr.com or whatever, multiple addresses. Somehow they got overlooked. When they didn't respond, I assumed they just blew us off, but we don't know the truth of that. But as soon as we started making a stink with 7,000 views or whatever that live stream's up to, with a title of MLDR, not paying pilots, with that question mark doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of getting sued for defamation, they were like, oh, hey, can we sit down with you guys and tell you our side of the story? And we were like, of course, you can. And they did. Yeah. Where should we start?
We got on a call with them. We went back and forth. We didn't record that call. We just kind of went back and forth, took notes, got an understanding between us, got some of our questions answered to understand what was going on. So they sent over an official statement. So we're going to start out by reading, looking over their official statement. It's a bit long, but it at least covers.
But I think we owe it to them. I'm not going to sit here and read. If they had sent me like a 1-paragraph statement, I would read it. I'd say this is their statement. I'm not going to do that. It's in the show notes, in the video description. Oh. We're going to show it on screen. No, what? Why are you saying that?
Oh, no. I just was on the wrong page. You're good.
Oh, thank God. So we're going to show it on screen, and you guys are welcome to read it. But then we're going to sort of give our opinion of the call and our opinion of the situation afterwards. So here it is. Do we want to call out any, by the time we finish talking about it, everybody could have read it, but I'm still not just going to sit here and read it. Is there particular parts of this, Blunty, that you think we need to focus on? Here we go. Dear team.
Yeah, I think...
this is written to the team pilots, not to us. Is it? I don't know.
It was sent to us. But yeah, so basically, it says... They're facing internal challenges. They understand that. They've been aware of concerns between trust of the executive team and the Arizona pilots, who we talked about, particularly around the recent contract adjustments. It is true that we had special and different contract terms for the Arizona teams that fit in with our financial strategy. The recent May 2023 event was downgraded, aligning the Arizona pilot to be paid equally to others in the league. Understand this. The concerns this has raised and the decision wasn't taken lightly. I have agreed to honor the original payouts. While there's no specific date mentioned in these agreements, I have committed to fulfilling this obligation, paying the pilots in installments. And then, it goes on to say
more
some
transparency, goal, emphasis, striving, promoting our 2024 events, and so on. So, no one has showed us the actual contract, which is under NDA. So we can't speak to, and I'm frankly, Blunty, if someone did show me the contract, I don't feel like I want to put myself in a position of adjudicating the rightness or wrongness of this, but I also want to kind of try to get to the truth, because if this is a good company that supports FPV and is paying FPV pilots to put on FPV events, then that's good. I'm down for that. But if it's a company that's ripping people off, then we would like to put the word out and say, hey, everybody be careful. If you do business with these guys. But it seems like people from both sides of this conflict agree that there is a contract and there is a stipulation in that contract whereby there are 2 or more different pay tiers depending on certain conditions. And
basically what would happen is if they live stream the event, right? The plan was to live stream the event. And then if they live streamed the event, that event would be at a higher pay level, because it would be live streamed to be publicity for the company and all these things. And they had a section in the contract that was described by both parties. Again, we didn't see, but it was described as essentially saying, if we do not live stream the event, we'll downgrade the tier of the event and you'll be paid according to, judged by ownership and things like that, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you went through the contract, it was clear in the contract. There were a lot of revisions to the contract. There's a lot of semantics in there that happened, but people did sign final contracts to do the job. So as far as we can tell, both parties agree that they did pay what was required legally through the contract. That's what I understand from both parties, both them and the pilots. Yeah.
And this is the first thing I think we want to be really clear about, because it does matter if you did what the contract legally required you to do. And then there's things that are in the contract, and then there's other things that you might go, well, yeah, but you should have done X. But I think it's really clear, and again, this seems to be something that both sides agree on, the pilots and the owners, that the owners did what they were legally required to do in the contract, and that certainly says something. Somebody who breaks a written contract is a different kind of person than a person who sticks to the letter of the contract, but maybe does other things that perhaps you might or might not agree with. And that I on some level, I wonder if this is where the disagreement is coming from.
Yeah, so let's make sure, let's keep moving the timeline so we understand what happened. So then, basically, that event happened. It wasn't a live stream. The event was downgraded. Pilots were paid less than they expected because they didn't understand the contracts or didn't understand that it was downgraded. Kind of get a little mixed signals when I try to parse that out. But essentially, the event was downgraded. The pilots were paid less. All the pilots got in a call with Richard and complained and said,
the owner, the CEO?
The CEO. And, they said, hey, we should be paid more. Yeah, we should be paid what we were originally contracted, even though you didn't live stream it. And then so Richard told them on that call, and then in a letter he sent them later, he said, okay, no problem. I will pay you in payments that amount of money. Just give me some time. But he did not give them a date. And he just said in the call, like, hey, I'll cover you. I'm working on it out of my personal funds, that sort of thing.
Apologies. I just tried to adjust Blunty's volume and made him way too loud. I have now fixed it. Sorry, Blunty, go ahead.
Okay.
No, don't touch your volume. I fixed it. You're good.
Yep. So essentially, that's kind of where we're at. So just a quick run through back again of that process. Pilots were contracted for a certain amount for live stream events, so less amount for non-live streamed. The event was not live streamed. The pilots found out. Some say before, some say day of, that sort of thing. Either way, the event was not live streamed. And then they were paid less. They got in a call with CEO. CEO said, don't worry, I'll pay you more. That was roughly 6 months ago. We do not know who has been paid what amounts. It seems like not much, but we can't confirm either way how many exact payments have been made.
Again, it seems like there are aspects of this that both sides agree on, which is that the owner, Richard, was confronted by the pilots who were unhappy with the outcome. Now, I don't know why the pilots felt like if the contract said, if we do X, then you get paid A, and if we do Y, you get paid B, and then they did X. I don't know why they felt it was their prerogative to go and say, hey, we think we should be paid more. But I'm a fan. I mean, like, if all of the employees get together and say, I don't care what the contract says, we're going to ask for more, they could ask for more, and the owner can say, sorry, guys, here's what the contract says. You're going to pay you what you agreed to be paid, and that's it. But that doesn't seem to be what happened. What seems to be what happened is that the owner, Richard, said, you know what, you guys, I feel you. And he says this in the statement as well, that he did agree and has agreed. I'm going to pay you the higher amount. But he didn't say when. He said he would. He didn't say when. And then months later, the pilots were like, well, you said you were going to do it, but you haven't done it yet. Are you going to do it? And that's when we started finding out about it. So I think what we have here, and this is just my personal opinion, based on what I think are facts that both sides agree to, is a situation where, like Blunty, I said, hey, Blunty, I'll give you $50. And then 6 months later, you're like, you said you were going to do it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I am going to do it. I definitely am going to give you $50. Not yet.
Right.
Well, anyway, right? And you're like, bro. Right. So I think in terms of the public deciding how they feel about this, I think we've given them enough information to start to form what I think is a pretty meaningfully informed. Because some people are going to go, hey, look, he did what the contract required. F you if you don't like it. And if that's you, then you're on MLDR's side. And if you're like, bro, if you tell me you're going to pay me and 4 months later I haven't heard a peep, I'm kind of like, I'm annoyed about that. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where it stands. Is there more to say about that?
Not too much, I don't think, unless anybody has specific questions. Just so you know, all the amounts, situations, timelines, and stuff that we have not shared are all NDA'd. Like, we've shared what we can share directly. We can't share amounts or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be about all the time we spend on this. Again, I am not at my heart a drama monger, despite what some people would say about me, especially the people who wish I would shut up and stop making problems for them. But I do think that if an entity is going to come into the FPV space and start like paying money and taking labor, if that entity is behaving in a way that FPV pilots feel is abusive, I feel like that's the kind of thing that we and the FPV News, I want us to be a source for that information so other people can decide if they want to work with this person.
Absolutely.
And the way it stands now, as far as I can tell, is that MLDR lives up to their contract. But if the owner says, okay, and frankly, kudos to Richard for going, you know what, guys, you're right. I'll pay you the additional money. Like, he could have been an asshole about it. But it may take you a while to get that money if you're in that situation, I think is the takeaway. Okay. Enough about that. What do you think the chances are that we get another message from MLDR about this coverage of the story?
I don't know. Probably 50-50 at this point. I'm not sure. Okay. We'll find out.
All right.
So.
All right. Moving on to the next story. Charpu Bando coming down.
Yes. So a few people sent me this story, and you ought to give me some information on this because I wasn't around at the time.
How old do you think I am?
Two videos.
No, I'm fucking with you.
Well, this is 2015, so I think you were in the hobby.
Oh,
right?
I fucking love this video. This video I know this is the Charpu Bando because he made it famous, but Phoenix FPV fucking owns this fucking site. This is some of the most just gut punch FPV footage. Look at that! I know we have to watch this whole video, so I don't know. Say whatever you want to say, Blunty. I mean, this is insane. This location is insane. Anyway, what's the news story?
The news story is that this band is getting torn down. So, yeah, we wanted to give you a heads up on that. It's unfortunate, I guess, I don't know that much about it, but people are saying this is essentially the birth of Freestyle based on a Charpu video, Left Behind.
We should watch his video.
I don't know that much. I've got it linked in the description.
Oh, you also linked the Charpu video. Of course you did. Kids, this is what we thought good freestyle looked like 8 years ago. This was what we thought was. Do you see that Phoenix video? And I'm like, that we had that reaction to this. I bet it's going to look like shit because quads flew like shit back then. Oh, did you see that? See the roll? Oh, he flew through the hole. Oh, he's not crashing. He's flying. Oh my God, he's flying all the way down that. That was it. What are we going to do next? What was that? Okay. Turn around. Oh, a split S. Oh, he went back through. Oh, he's going to do it. Is he going to do a... Oh, is he going to do... Oh, my goodness. You guys have no idea how hard this was. Charpu is just as good a pilot as Phoenix. It's just the tools that he's using are so much less effective.
Right.
In a way. I don't know. Phoenix is a pretty good pilot. This was the cutting edge freaking state of the art at the time. Of course, lots of people were just flying great big 7-inch, 9-inch drones. That didn't... You couldn't do this stuff with them. My goodness. That's sad if it's getting torn down. This is an epic location. On some level, I kind of thought maybe someday I'd get to fly here. I wouldn't, do any... I would never show anybody the footage because of how shitty it would look. But, little prop wash there. Just flying through. Yeah, this video... It's like, it reminds me of like... You hear Jimi Hendrix playing at Woodstock, and you're like, why are people so impressed with Jimi Hendrix? It just sounds like, sounds like kind of blues rock electric guitar. And it's like, no, he invented that. That didn't exist. The reason that you think it's boring is exactly why it's so important. It was so fundamental that you don't even notice it anymore. And that's kind of what this is like, Charpu doing freestyle. Anyway. Well, it sucks.
Right.
Any excuse to go back and watch Phoenix and Charpu, though. All right. Next up.
Got a DJI story. If you think DJI bad, you will also like this story, I guess. This is one of those things where we don't really know why it's happening, but DJI is essentially dropping the SDK, the software development kit, for both iOS and Windows, and also something called an onboard SDK, though they have this successor to that, so it's not really dropping that SDK as much as transitioning it to something called Payload SDK. But yeah, iOS SDK and Windows SDK. So any third-party applications that are made to work with DJI that are going to use either of those operating systems are basically being dropped, effective as of the post, which was November 24th. Yeah. Yeah,
well, that's interesting. Of course, you could... Yeah, go ahead.
They still have their own applications, so those will still work.
You're not saying that like the DJI Fly app is leaving iOS. No.
Correct. Yeah, but any third-party SDK support is leaving. So.
I'm not even sure what apps use the third-party SDK, but I guess they're out there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's part of why there wasn't that much. They have like a bunch of app pictures at the top. I'm not sure exactly which all those apps are. But yeah, just so you have a heads up, Drone Deploy and Drone Harmony are two they name in the article. So
okay, all right. Well, there's part of me that wonders if it's security related, although Windows is not particularly known for security.
Well, so yeah, I think the two theories I've seen are, one is downsizing, like they're just dumping money into this for no reason, so why not cut costs? People are talking in the background that maybe DJI is having trouble with cost issues based on, I think part of it is Chinese real estate and stuff. But anyway, the other reason people are thinking is because of USA crackdown stuff, and it's possible they just want to get out of iOS and not even be involved in that, so that they don't really have to worry about any of those associations.
Brandon Means thinks Air Control might. That's actually, Air Control can like reach out to the DJI app and like tell the DJI app that you have Lance approval to fly. And maybe that's using the SDK. Perhaps that's a good guess, Brandon. We don't know for sure. One IFPV says, in other words, we laid off the SDK guy. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
that's basically a good guess.
It is. I think it's interesting to see iOS and Windows drop at the same time. So, obviously there's some change in what they want to do or where they want to push things.
Mo tells us that the Litchi app brought waypoint support to all drones that didn't support waypoints. I see. So you could have a third-party app that basically talked to the drone and was like, kind of like Mission Planner for ArduPilot. It was like, hey, go here, do this. And the drone was like, yes, sir. And so you could make the drone do things. But now you won't be able to do that, except on Android. Which is good, because I am an Android user, and I believe Android is superior. And I'm glad to see anything that makes all those little snobs with their freaking blue bubbles or whatever take a hit.
I did check market share, and it looks like it's still about 30% iPhone, 70% Android in the general, like when you look at market share.
Goddamn right. So, only but how many of that 70% of Android users are nerds and losers? Like, do we really care about them?
Okay.
Okay. Point made. That's right. I said I'm an Android user. Okay.
All right.
Next up, we got a new track for Velocidrone.
Yes. Yeah, we wanted to let you know Whooptopia is coming up. I think Whooptopia is like April or something. Hold on.
Ooh, strong words. The best simulator.
Should probably know. Oh no, sorry, it's in January this year. And the track has been put out into Velocidrone, so if you want to fly it and see how you rank up with some of the pilots that are going to be there, you want to get some practice for the track, that sort of thing, you can go check out Whooptopia track on Velocidrone.
Can we see the Whooptopia track? Let's take a look. I want to actually see this track. This is a 2-hour live stream. I don't think we should watch the whole thing. But I feel like we could show the people what the track is. Is this it, Blunty? Does this look right?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, it's just a bunch of squares floating in a dark space. Oh, okay. That makes sense. It's like a whoop track. Is Whooptopia held in the dark, Blunty?
I'm not sure. If this one, maybe. I'm not.
I don't know if this is just Velocidrone being creative or it's the actual representation of the track.
Yeah, like previous tracks were in a big, like, well-lit gym and stuff, so I'm not
That's
sure.
what I would expect. Yeah. Okay, well, if you're headed to Whooptopia, then this is a great way to practice. Simulators are great. You have a huge advantage over your competition if you show up knowing the course, and you can use all your warm-up laps to actually get good.
I got third in an event one time instead of first because I got lost on the track, and that wouldn't have happened if I was able to practice for days beforehand. So.
Yeah.
It's anxiety, but I would, the more practice, the less you have a chance of doing that. So.
I've shown, and like obviously, I'm not a great racer, like so I'm the negative example of what not to do, but I have shown up before to like a GQ or a race and been like, okay, they're like, okay, we're gonna walk the track, and I'm like, cool, and they're like, okay, first round of practice laps, and I'm like, okay, wait, and I spend 2 rounds of practice laps just learning the course. And then, like, there's maybe 5 rounds of practice. So, like, a little less than half my practice is just wasted. So, if you're serious about racing, this is a huge. That is the 2023 track. Whoops, my bad.
At the top of the screen, it should say, I couldn't tell with the resolution, but it should have the track name at the top while he's flying.
Okay, my bad. That was the wrong track, but anyway. Oh, here we go. No, Whooptopia 2023. I'm being told that Whooptopia is in a dark gym that is lit up by LEDs on the track. Thank you, eDoc. No, yeah, that's pretty accurate. We figure it'll be more of a challenge if you've got all this image noise in your camera. God, Whoop Racing is so cool. It's so cool. Oh, my God. Like, all the LEDs and shit just zipping around. Whoa, nice move. Nice move, eDoc. I mean, people who say multi-GP tracks are too complicated don't know shit when it comes to whoop tracks. They're ridiculous. Oh, my goodness. All right, I want to see that loop again. I want to see that hurdle. Where is it? Not there. Not there it is. Woo! That is clean, eDoc. That is clean. All right, well, that's the 2023 course, which apparently is not the course that we're talking about. So
yeah, I tried to get a video. AK sent me a recording of his phone recording his screen in Facebook that I could not pull off of Facebook, and he wasn't able to get me a better one. So
all right, that's fine. Okay. Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the news, the plugs. It's where we tell you about the things that we want you to buy so you can give us money. Something like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
We're gonna
and maybe they'll help you. It's like a two-way thing, right?
Yeah.
So the first one is your website, fpvknowitall.com, where you can go check out the ultimate FPV shopping list. This is where you can go search for all kinds of different parts and things you might. So you got some bind and fly, ready to fly whoops here. You could start your racing through shopping here and checking out some of the different things you want to buy. I believe this is curated by Ciotti. Is that correct?
The whoop page is curated by Ciotti. Should probably get him to go through this and update it. It's been a little while since he wrote this. I bet some stuff has changed. A lot of the stuff doesn't. People ask about how often the page is updated, and I'm slow to update it in part because I don't want to like just put some product on because it's new and hot and have some problem. Like I'd rather it be trustworthy than current. But also my opinion about what's best doesn't change as often as you might think it should. So sometimes people are like, yeah, I went back to the page, nothing changed. I'm like, yeah, I know. Nothing good has happened since then. That's not always the case, but sometimes it is. I want to show you guys ItsBlunty's website, ItsBlunty.com, including the ability to join ItsBlunty's Discord server. And that is the best way to get a hold of him if you want a one-on-one call. Like, he'll get on the phone with you and help you solve your problem.
Yeah.
It's very reasonable. Still a very reasonable $50 an hour. Or has inflation gotten you yet, Blunty?
Yeah, still $50 an hour. Yeah, we'll do for a call. Around an hour, we could squeeze a little extra in there. We'll make it work, right? We'll try to fix your problem.
Generous. So generous.
Yeah. You can also sign up for my Patreon there on my website as well. So support me if you'd like to help support me.
Alrighty. I want to make sure you know about searchfpv.com. Searchfpv.com. Hello, there we go. Is an FPV product search engine made by my friend Eirik Toft in participation with me. We're just adding more stores all the time. Beta FPV just got added. You can pick a region. You can pick in stock only, which is the real power. And you search for a product like, what should we search for this week, Blunty? I don't know, what's new and hot? What do you got? You got something?
Goggles X?
Let's see if the Goggles X are in stock anywhere. It runs the search for you. Any minute now. It's running in the background. Sometimes when I do this on the live stream, it crashes. And then we can go through and see what kind of search results the store returned. And we can see the price, and we can see whether it's in stock. It's a pretty great tool. Super excited about it. Oh, here we go. Pre-order Walksnail Avatar HD Goggles X, $459 in stock. Well, it's not is that a pre-order or is it in stock? That's not for us to say. But that is searchfpv.com. And one more thing.
Yeah, we've got the Joshua Bardwell live stream clips channel where we take parts from the Q&As, from your Sunday and Monday Q&As, and our Tuesday news shows, and we put them up here for you to enjoy as clips. Right now we're posted a couple a day, and you can get your fix if you maybe missed the shows, you want some more specific information or anything like that.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, I understand why you had to do that, but I have to send that to Fabio in case he missed it. No, I'm not going to do that. That was, it would be better if he missed it.
It's a good title, right?
It is a good title. How many views has it got? 686 views. It's not crushing on views, I think.
Well, yeah, the audience isn't super interested in it, but
yeah, fair enough. There you go. They just love me for my FPV. They want to just dance, monkey. Tell us about FPV. No, I have a new album out. No one cares. Alrighty, those are the plugs. Let's get back to the news.
Yes, back to the news. And the first one we've got is an FPV Kickstarter that's already been funded many, many times over, which I think is pretty cool.
$160,000.
Yeah, this is RCTestflight and ThinkFlight working together to build a basically something called the Flick Wing, a molded aircraft frame that you can sign up for and buy ahead of time. So they'll mold you some and send them out, or they're going to start selling them on a website after the project's over. And it just came out of a project that both of them did to work on a little molded wing that's easy to fly. You could slap an O3 air unit in and crank around.
What does molded mean? Is that just what EPP?
So injection molded.
Yeah, so that's like all the EPP airframes, right?
I have no idea what an EPP airframe is. So.
Oh, EPP is that name for that foam that they make foamies out of. I'm trying to decide if it. Never mind. All right. I wasn't sure if it like meant something different than, but it sounds like it's just it's a foamy, but it's like a little 19-inch foamy. It's super tiny. And,
yeah, it's under 250 grams with an O3 air unit.
Wow, under 250 grams. That's the magic word. Holy shit, look at this guy flying down this path. That's hard. That's hard to do with a wing.
Yeah, RCTestflight, we also linked his video on it where he does that in his video. He cruises around through a park and stuff. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's super excited about it. They kind of worked on it together back and forth and eventually developed a little wing that they felt was kind of easy to get up in the air and tune. You could do little missions with it and just cruise around in manual if you want and get some cool O3 shots.
Oh, I see why the molding is important. Because they have to pay to have the injection mold made, and that's preposterously expensive.
Right.
But it looks like they were asking for 15 grand, which is about like, I don't know, like I'm sure injection molds vary in price, but that's in the ballpark of my understanding of what an injection mold costs, in the like single digit to maybe $20,000, depending on the complexity of the mold. So it sounds like they have enough to get the mold made, and now they're like gonna make it, right?
Yeah. There's and they also have options that you could get built already. So like comes with most of the stuff already in it. You just slap like an O3 or something in it and fly pretty much. On a flight controller, but or you can just buy it as the item, or you can wait until it comes out and then buy it on their website once you see how people feel about it, because obviously they haven't seen the injection molded part of it yet. They have a timeline.
Well, Daniel Riley makes good shit though, right? Like that's the whole thing he does, is makes cool shit. Like probably it's gonna be good. Flickwing Aircraft DIY Electronics, Flickwing Aircraft Plus Base Electronics. 2X servos, brushless motor, ESC props. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm curious if being as small as it is, whether that means it's going to be really touchy to fly, like, or whether, like, for example, will it need unusually high airspeed? Like, what's the wing loading? Obviously, we don't know. Will it be less stable in the air than a larger aircraft? It's certainly being that light is going to be more durable. That's tempting.
They upsized it. They made it about 20% bigger while they were trying to figure out like how to get it tuned and flying well with the O3. So Daniel ended up making a new one that was about 20% bigger, and they ended up going with that design, which still ends up under that 250 gram weight. So.
Yeah, I'm being told that EPP could be wire cut or molded. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Molded is stronger. And other people are pointing out the similarity of this to the Strix Nano Goblin, which now that you mention it, people also like. I've heard of this. Obviously, I'm not like big in the wing world, but I've heard from people I know who do fly wings that they're just absolutely huge fans of the Strix Nano Goblin, being just really fun and valuable for money, and I thought it was worth pointing out, throwing Ready-Made RC some love. If you're looking for a similar performing platform in a small, compact wing that doesn't cost too much, you could consider this as well. Yeah, very nice, very nice.
Cool, yeah. So support that, or don't, and wait for it to come up, show up on the website, and then you can buy it, and you don't have to wait.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Alrighty. We have some news about the Acrobatics Cup. You want to tell people what the Acrobatics Cup is, or now was, before we get into the news?
Sure. It's a freestyle challenge where they do monthly challenges. They do tricks or combos, and they have a scoring system that's like a big league. And then you accumulate points over the year by winning those monthly challenges, and the pilot who accumulates the most points at the end of the season is deemed the champion for the season.
So here are the challenges for the 2023 season. File under the list of things I thought would be fun to do but didn't do them because I got busy with other things. I thought it would be fun to, like, I could still do this even though the competition's over, to like try each of these challenges and make a video out of it, just as a way of kind of, you know, making some interesting freestyle content. And that's an interesting move right there. I don't know. And so there is a challenge. A winner, right?
Yeah.
That's the news.
Alexanre Tuil, Heim FPV has won, and we've got his that we can share. It does have copyright-free music, so we could share the music if we want.
Risky. I'll risk it.
They made a point to specifically tell us.
Yeah, but like sometimes copyright-free music then changes and now it's copyrighted, or somebody registers it. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's watch the video. 6 views. We're going to bump that up. All right, we got to get into it. We're 35 seconds in and we haven't seen any freestyle yet. "45 seconds in. Oh, okay, here we go. Ooh, that's a cool move. I changed my mind. I'm not going to do these tricks. I can do that one. I can slingshot. I'm good at that. Okay, I'm not sure I 100% understand that one, but I think I got it. Oh, a little backwards. Sideways power loop. I can do that. Okay. Little just freestyle here. Little spangy style. Ooh, spang tornado. What's a spang tornado? Oh, wow. Clean. Mike could do that. Nice. Oh, they stepped up the difficulty. Woo. Wow, they really stepped up the difficulty. Damn. Nice. Nice.
Yeah, cool stuff, man. I think it's neat that stuff like this is going on, and so next year you can participate in Acrobatics FPV Challenges Cup. This was a 10-month process, so I assume it'll be kicking up in a couple more months for the next season.
I really like freestyle competitions. Like a race, it's like a race. The structure of a race is relatively straightforward. And then you take a race, you put it in the simulator, and you do it online, and anyone can race. But freestyle, it's a lot harder to get people to focus on freestyle as a competition. And stuff like this, that anyone can stuff like International Game of Whoop, that put out challenges that anyone can upload and participate in, and just really get people participating and demonstrating FPV. I'm a big fan of it.
Something I'll shout out to Botgrinder, who will come up next, but also he does that a lot on his streams. Or I'm not sure if he still does, but he used to do it all the time, where he just features pilot after pilot after pilot and goes through all of them and picks his favorite and stuff. So anything like that is so great for the hobby.
Yeah, awesome. Well, speaking of Botgrinder, we've come to the only tonight cinematic of the week. Botgrinder, I gotta say, Botgrinder has posted an FPV. Like, it's almost like one of the old skate videos, right? And the vibe that he captured in this video, like, it's a vibe that I've experienced hanging out with people, flying, just screwing around. And I've wished I could share it with people, and I don't know how. Like, I've made vlogs, but like, as we learned earlier in the stream, I'm like a nerdy loser. Not like a cool person like Botgrinder. And I just am never able to really capture that vibe. I just make a different kind of content. And when I watch this, we're going to show a little bit of it. It's like 15 minutes long, so obviously we're going to show the whole thing. And it's full of, I'm sure, copyrighted music, so we're definitely not going to play the audio. And the link is in the video description. You should 100% go watch it. I really loved it. I really loved it. Anything
absolutely.
You want to say?
No, you basically said everything. So yeah, let's check it out.
Okay, let's do it. No, we're not going to do that. Okay, so we keep the FAA happy. Do not attempt to recreate the flights. And the thing is, all the flying, according to the title, is 28 grams. Whoop the planet. Wait a minute, 28 grams. 28 grams. Blunty, why 28 grams? Is there another significance to that?
I can't imagine.
I just put that together because I was like, oh, that's how much a tiny whoop weighs. And then I realized that, okay, way to go, Botgrinder. So they took these tiny whoops out. So like on some level, maybe it will be, people will freak the fuck out less about the things they're doing. And then they flew in just completely irresponsible ways. And that's why I'm showing this video, is to show you guys how bad it is that they did this and that you should not do it. Any of this. I'm taking notes to report to the FAA exactly who these people are. This is the only reason I'm watching this. What do you think of the aspect ratio, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, we mentioned it before, but yeah, it's basically straight out of old skate videos, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
even the camera
reminds me. Yeah.
Like he didn't shoot the handheld camera footage in high def. Like what most people would have done is the FPV footage would have been like low def, and then the handheld footage would have been like high def. And he was like, no, he shot it like old skate videos.
Have you seen that channel there's a channel out there that basically films everything in 4:3 on like a high def camera, and then they run that camera through their computer and burn it onto a DVD, and then they run a DVD player through a VCR and record it on the VCR, and then they put the VCR back through the computer.
It feels like, and I respect the commitment, but it feels like you could just come up with like a filter and save it. But no, I remember there were people who were buying the Immersion RC PowerPlay DVR because they had these cameras and they had like VHS cameras and they wanted to record the footage off of it without going to tape. But they wanted that authentic, 90s VHS look, and that was the way to get it. There's and I don't know how Botgrinder. I'd be interested to learn like how he. Look at this guy. This is the one guy with an 03 on his drone. So is the only reason this footage looks like this. Everybody else is analog and HD0. I'd be interested to hear like what he shot it with. Just intrigued. Anyway, the link is in the video description, and it's just good music. If you're into that sort of music. And just people chilling out, having a great time flying drones. And I got to tell you, there's a part of me, and as the nerd who makes technical educational content and takes everything really seriously, including himself, I feel like there's a place in the world for more just being silly and fun. And that, maybe we don't have as much of that in FPV as we used to.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's another, I'm calling Audible Blunty. There's another community spotlight
Okay.
I'm going to show right now.
I know where this is going.
I know you know. You sent me this video. This video, speaking of fun, silly things that happen in FPV.
Welcome back to a very special video.
This is what today. FPV needs more of. Thank you for sending me this, Blunty.
Today I'm going to be ranking this year's top 16 multi-GP championship pilots on whether or not I think I could take them in a fight. An interesting question. I'm sure it's one that a lot of you have asked yourselves in the past months since champs.
And it's pretty self-explanatory. He ranks the top 16 pilots. Most people he knows.
He
could kick their ass and rank them.
He literally takes it real seriously, but not too seriously.
All right, next up we have Kryson. Kryson is.
All right, so that's what I want to see more of. More silliness. I'm having a little bit of I'm going to sleep on this and then decide I was wrong the whole time. I feel like I'm having a little bit of an epiphany, which is that we've got to this point where everybody's doing crazy, unreachable tricks. And I'm constantly either flying cinematic through the mountains, Johnny FPV. And everybody else, including me, is just looking at that going, all right, yeah, cool. All right, I don't need to. I'm just, where's the fun? We need more. Well, I want more fun content. You guys need to submit more fun, silly content with FPV.
Shout out to Lyman, who we've shown on the show many times. Lyman's videos are always fun. I think he always tries to have fun. He's always trying to do some gimmicks, and he does some bits, and it's always a good time over on Lyman's channel. Yeah, more of that would be great for sure. His
videos are also educational, and by the way, I get super jealous when I see his videos being both super educational and silly and fun, and I'm like, why can't I do that? I have my moments every now and then, but not usually. Anyway, I need to be drunker. I need to drink more, and then I'll make sillier, more fun videos. Got it. Like so many performers taken out before his time by performance-enhancing alcohol. I mean, Lyman's probably drunk most of the time, actually, now that I think about it. Okay.
This is not a statement endorsed by the FPV News Podcast. Okay.
Okay. We got another community spotlight. What is it?
Okay. Next up, we've got a video from Velocidrone where ilikebananas FPV wanted to tell you about a Freestyle and Bando collection he's made on Velocidrone. This is a giant map that includes all kinds of different famous spots, cool places to fly, different types of flying styles, all on one big old crazy map.
I'm trying to see how many of these sites I recognize, and it's not as many as you might think. Like some of them, like that's a Ferris wheel. Is that Pripyat? There's the Vanover, like Croatia dive is in here. I recognize that one. A lot of these I like. I'm like, that's a pretty badass, but I don't recognize it. I can't imagine how much work. This is so much work, right? I mean, come on.
Yes.
So much work.
The answer is yes.
Like, how do you even do this?
And you might be like, holy crap, this is so much. But he's actually working on another map currently. And he let me know that he's working on a version of the Charpu spot.
Shut up. How do you even do that? Like, do you just watch FPV videos and, like, figure out how the layout of the building must be? How do you do that? Without physically visiting the site? I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm not sure how scale and stuff is done, but it's pretty cool stuff. Maybe Google Maps? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's really something. Well, thank you for the immense amount of work that you put into this. And I would like to say, get a job. But if you did, then you wouldn't be doing this. And so get a Patreon, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What else? Walksnail.app.
Yeah, next up, we haven't shown this on the show yet, so we wanted to let people know about Walksnail.app, which is by Devil, D3VO, which we've talked about on the show before in various projects like WTFOS and such. He's brought us Walksnail.app. He was already running the previous firmware site, and now he's running this firmware site in place for Walksnail information. If you wanted to, get the latest firmware, know more information about it, get all the release notes, get them all flagged and sorted and stuff, you can go there and check that stuff out. Yeah.
This is where I go to download Walksnail firmware because I find it to be a lot more useful than Walksnail's official site, including the fact that I don't think Walksnail has historical links to their firmware. So
I believe this is created in response to them lacking that. I mean,
right.
I think the whole reason he made this was because of that.
If I search Walksnail firmware download, here's Cadix's page. Wait, here's all firmware. No, that's Walksnail.app. Huh. If we go down to the bottom where the firmware is, yeah, it's only the latest. Like, F you, what if I want to roll back? Well, actually, you can't roll back without renaming the files because Walksnail stops you from rolling back. By the way, I would like to say I used this site recently to roll back. There used to be an option on the site where you check a box and it automatically renames the firmware so you can downgrade.
Oh, right.
I don't see that option anymore. I think that option got lost and I wish it would come back. So in that way that I do, where I shout into the void and hope that my voice is loud enough for someone to hear me, Devil, bring back the option to download the firmware with the automatic rename so you can downgrade. I know it's not that hard to do, but manually, but yeah. Okay, great. That's the last news thing. Well, it's barely news left.
Yeah. Do we have any super chats? This is our super chat check-in point.
Yeah, well, we do. Just one from Coyote FPV for $20 and no message, just a sticker. So thank you, Coyote FPV, for the super chat, and F the rest of you for not super chatting.
Oh, no? That's, again, not an approved message by the FPV News.
Hey, I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad guy here. Yeah.
We appreciate you watching.
We'll get 15 more super chats before the end. It works. Okay, let's go to It's Barely News. A couple of last-minute little stories that we don't really have a lot to add to, but we thought you'd think they were cool, and that's why we call it It's Barely News.
Yeah, and the first one up, we just want to let you know about this drone story where drones are spraying for mosquitoes down in a parish. Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen similar applications of this before. I'm not sure if we've seen directly mosquito stuff, but yeah, I don't know where you live if they do this. I don't actually know how this works nationwide. I know it didn't happen in Colorado, but when I'm back in Alabama here, they have mosquito trucks that literally go around and spray mosquito spray everywhere constantly. And I'm sure you could save a lot of money on fuel costs, especially in certain areas where you want to spray and you get places you couldn't otherwise. So it's kind of interesting.
Right, especially like if you need to go into like backcountry. I mean, this is essentially just an ag drone. Right? It's just an ag drone with a sprayer, and they're using it to spray for mosquitoes. That's still cool. It's not like they invented this, though. I'm not even
100%.
sure. Yeah. That's still pretty cool, though. There it goes with its little sprayer. And I think we can all agree, and I do think the FPV News will endorse this statement: fuck mosquitoes.
That's true. Yes.
Did you know? You know this, and this is, I'm pretty sure this is true. Do you know it's only like a few species of mosquito that actually bite humans? There's a whole bunch of mosquitoes out, so don't fuck mosquitoes. Just like that, there's 4 or 5 species that bite humans and cause malaria and all the other bad things.
Yeah. There's companies you can buy. I mean, it's expensive and you have to live in certain places, but you can buy boxes of sterile mosquitoes and then release them. It'll sterilize your mosquitoes in your area, but you have to like release them every so often, and they're exorbitantly expensive.
Like soy boy mosquitoes.
Yeah, pretty much. That ruin the population.
But then how do they get that? How do the sterile mosquitoes like pull the bitches?
Because they're like satisfy. Yeah, I'm not sure how exactly it works, but I think
they're all going around and they're just like, you know, and the women are like going for the virile. Anyway,
all right.
More silliness in FPV. That's what I said.
Yeah, very true.
Next up, one more.
All right. Yeah, our last story. We've got. Some people say drone delivery is syncing as an idea. In this case, a device actually did sync. I kind of, again, this is barely news, so the bar is low. But this is something I bet we're going to be reading a million stories about as soon as anything kicks into high gear. Because essentially, this is just a delivery drone that was trying to come back, bring the drone back, and then they had to deploy a parachute and let it drop in the ocean.
Okay. I feel like someone didn't understand how parachutes work. So if you're over the ocean and you detect a technical problem and you deploy the parachute, you haven't changed the outcome of the technical problem.
Right. 100%. Yeah. I mean, it clearly is obviously meant to be like anytime you're over land, the parachute helps to land the drone if the motors can't, right?
You may as well keep flying if you're over the ocean.
Anybody over there should have been an SOP that's like, if over X location, do not deploy parachute.
The craft was not carrying any cargo at the time, and there was no damage to people or property except the drone.
Except the drone.
All right, well...
And obviously it cost them some money because they're working to retrieve the drone, which is...
Whoa, it's been in the ocean. You guys, it's pointless.
That's where I'm at.
It's ruined. It's ruined. Let it go. I mean, like, if you don't want some dolphin to choke on a propeller, go get the drone, but it's ruined. There's nothing... Oh, my God. It actually did have... It had some secret cargo that they are not willing to tell us about.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep, there was a nuke.
So how do you fix this? Do you just put a wing on this thing that you can deploy if there's a dangerous situation, and then it can like glide in? You have a.
I mean, if it's on the ocean, then it can't. I mean, eventually it needs. You need redundancy, right? I don't know what the technical problem was, obviously, but like you need it to be in. So it's a quad. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a hex, so it could suffer a lost motor and still fly. Like, I don't know what the nature of the technical problem was, but what you need is redundancy. That's what you need. Or floaties, as Keener points out.
Yeah, it seems like I mean, relatively speaking, there was a 50-50 chance that it would have been somebody's mail that went down with this thing. So it would be good to have some backup that's not going to take down packages down to the bottom of the ocean. But
I mean, on a long enough
fall off shipping containers anyway. So
yeah, on a long enough timeline, you'll have a mechanical failure. It's just how long is that timeline? So maybe this was just their day. I'm really curious what the technical problem that was flagged. I mean, we'll probably never know, but I'd be really curious to know.
Interpret Null mentioned zipline drones have a better system essentially for this, which is they slingshot the drone one way and then it's got a motor and a wing, so you can at least typically land them somewhere safe. But I wonder, I bet the payload is the concern here, right? They want to be able to get big enough packages.
Yeah. Well, and they're not, zipline's not going over the ocean. So if they get halfway through their flight and have to come to the ground, then they come to the ground and presumably they're over an uninhabited area and they just retrieve the drone.
I wonder if you could, like, if the motor dies, you could, like, ride thermals or something. Like, I wonder, you know what I mean? I wonder if there's some way.
It depends on your wing loading.
Right.
You need big wings and, like, a glider to carry any significant weight.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Right.
If you're flying over the ocean and you don't want to go down in the ocean, the answer is not to say, well, what if I lose all my motors and have to glide? The answer is to say, I'm going to make sure I always have a fucking motor. You know? So, anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of the news today. Thank you guys for coming out. We got one more super chat. I told you we'd get one more. I said 15, but we only got one. Still, we got one.
Okay.
That's $10 more from Max Myers, who says, yes, guilt works.
Oh, fair enough.
It worked on Max. And just like the owner of MLDR, I'm going to give you that $10. Anyway, see you guys.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.